Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Earwax. It's Colin, and today we're going over my top 5 albums of 2012. So, 2012 was another great year for music, like they pretty much all are. But I had a pretty difficult time narrowing down even just like my honorable mentions for this year. Let's go over the rules. So, first and foremost, these are just my personal favorite albums from the year, not the ones that I think are like objectively the best albums. And then also, these have to be full studio albums. So, no EPs, no live albums, no compilations, no re releases, no remasters, anything like that. Just new, fresh LPs that came out in 2012. Also, if you guys could please comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff helps me out a ton. And without further ado, let's get into the honorable mentions. So, my first honorable mention is going to be Mumps, Etc. by the band Y. So, if you're not familiar with Why, they're probably one of the most unique bands you'll ever listen to. They've got a really cool blend of like alternative hip hop and indie rock, alternative rock, but with like their own unique flair on both of those genres. And they sound like absolutely no one else out there. This album, it's not my favorite Y album, but I love like the stretch from that they did from like 2008 to like 2018 roughly. And yeah, this it's just such a fun album, and one that if you haven't listened to, you should really check out. Next is going to be Lonerism by Tame Impala. This was like the album that got me into Tame Impala. I also think it was their last like really good album. Like I really am only a huge fan of their first two, so like Inner Speaker and this. I know Currents was like the album that put them on the map, but I don't love like the pop direction they went into, and even like their most recent album is probably one of the worst albums that I listened to this year. But this album in particular, it's my favorite of theirs. It's the one that I go back to all the time. Elephant's like one of my favorite songs they've ever done. And yeah, it's just an absolutely incredible album. And then my last honorable mention is going to be Afterman The Ascension by Coheed and Cambria. I actually really love the two Afterman albums. I know there's like a good chunk of their fan base that don't or consider them like some of their weaker releases. But I really, really love those two albums. This one is my favorite of the two, I'd say. But it's the, I mean, I kind of listen to them both together. But yeah, definitely one of the weirder entries, definitely one of the more experimental entries in their discography, but still a lot of fun and a great album if you're a fan of like their type of music. All right, with the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into number 5. So coming in at number 5 is going to be LP's Cancer for Cure. This was my introduction to LP. This was the album that got me into him, and then also like by extension Killer Mike, who came out with rap music this year as well. And then obviously they went on to form Run the Jewels, which is one of my favorite hip-hop projects ever. But this was the album that got me into like just LP as a producer, as a rapper, and it's still absolutely incredible. If you're a fan of Run the Jewels and you haven't heard this album, like go back and listen to it. It's got a couple other solo records as well that are both fantastic, but I do think this is his best work. It's not a super politically correct title, but the leading single off this album, The Full Retard, is absolutely incredible. One of my favorite, just like sort of experimental, like aggressive hip hop songs to come out in the, past, I guess, 15 years at this point, 13 years at this point. But yeah, the whole track list is great. Drones Over Brooklyn is another absolutely standout track. And then Tougher, Colder, Killer, which features Killer Mike. And again, this was like hearing this song on this album was my introduction to Killer Mike that made me seek his stuff out. But yeah, really amazing, just like sort of weird, funky, electronic based production on this. LP's rhymes are incredible. The features they have on here are really, really good as well. And if you are a fan of not just like Run the Jewels, but like that style of hip hop in general, like definitely go check this one. Coming in at number 4 is going to be L'Enfant Sauvage by Gojira. Gojira for a long time has been one of my favorite metal bands. This was the album that again kind of got me into them. A buddy of mine had showed me this album right when it came out, and it was my first exposure to Gojira, and I became absolutely hooked. I've fallen in love with everything since. It's not my favorite Gojira album, but it was the first one that I heard, the one that got me into them, and just one of the best like groove tech death metal albums of all time. They've obviously like kind of done a lot within that genre over the years, and it's hard to like pinpoint a specific genre on them. And with their more recent appearance at the Olympics, they've gotten a lot more attention than they ever really have. But this is still, I think, one of their best albums. I'd put it like right around, maybe third or fourth in their discography for me. But yeah, it's still an absolute blast. The title track, L'Enfant Sauvage, is incredible. The Axe, Pain is a Master. Like the track list on this thing, it's banger after banger after banger. It's heavy, it's groovy, it's catchy. It's such a fun album. And if you're a fan of metal and you haven't listened to this, definitely go check it out.
Okay, now open your mind up and listen to me, Kendrick. I'm in your conscious.
Coming in at number 3 is an album that I think a lot of people will probably have as their number 1 on the year. And I mean, again, top 5 of this year, like you could probably put them in any sort of order, depending on how I'm feeling at any given time. But right now, in this time of my life, this is coming at number 3, and that's going to be Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. This is still my favorite Kendrick album. Again, it's the album that got me into him. I think it's his second studio album, but it's really the one that sort of put him on the map. I know there's people out there that would put To Pimp a Butterfly over this album, but this will forever be my favorite Kendrick album. Just like, it was so refreshing to hear like an album that went mainstream and just like top of the charts that I actually thought was like really good quality. Like the rapping on here is incredible, the production's incredible, the storytelling's incredible. The praises of this album have been sung ever since it's been released. And yeah, obviously there's reasons for that. Like, it's so goddamn good. Obviously, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe was like the big single off of this. Swimming Pools Drink, absolutely incredible as well. The dual tracks of Good Kid, Mad City, but like this whole album is just absolutely incredible. One of the best hip hop albums to come out in the 2010s. I mean, it's easily in the top 5 of the 2010s and probably in the top 20 hip hop albums to come out of all time. Take me down easy, I can't stand the sound of the smell. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Yellow and Green by Baroness. Now, I know this is technically a double album, and there are people that probably think this is cheating, but I don't care. It was released together. It is one album, just 2 sides. And yeah, not my favorite Baroness album, but the one that got me into them. Absolutely incredible. It's got probably their biggest single on it in March to the Sea, which is absolutely incredible on the Yellow side. Take My Bones Away as well, Cocainium, and that's just on Yellow. Green is absolutely incredible as well, with Full Song, Collapse, and the Green theme. Again, just like, it's an absolutely incredible experience. If you like more sort of progressive metal, if you like a little bit more of kind of like the laid back stoner metal, a little bit of the alternative metal vibes here as well, but it's such a cool album. If you don't know Baroness, like, go check them out. I think they're one of the best bands doing it right now. I just saw them live for the first time back in August. They played their first 2 albums in full in a tiny little club, and it was a magical experience. So if you don't know them, you like heavier music, you like sort of more alternative progressive metal, like, definitely go check these guys out. And yeah, this is a great place to start. I think, listen to Yellow and Green, go back, do Blue and Red, and then like listen to their later albums. But this is definitely a great starting point. And my number 1 album of 2012 is going to be An Awesome Wave by Alt J. I know the rest of my top 5 was either hip hop or metal, but we're coming in at number 1 with an alt indie rock album. And yeah, this is an incredible album. I think it's about as close to a perfect like indie album you can get. There's like weird electronic elements to it. There's definitely some rock elements to it. You've got 3 like career just defining songs in Tessellate, Breeze Blocks, and Fitz Pleasure. But yeah, just front to back, this is such a fun album. It's so unique. It's so creative. Like, any one of these songs come on, you know exactly who it is. I mean, Joe Newman's voice is just so recognizable, and it's like, you hear him on any project after this, you immediately know who it is. Very few albums make such a statement and just like come in with such, especially debut albums, and it's absolutely incredible. I never get tired of this album. I've liked a lot of their stuff since this, but I don't think they've quite reached the peak that they did on this one. And yeah, again, if you have not listened to this album and you like indie music at all, sort of like indie-tronica, alt rock, sort of anything in that realm, I don't know why you haven't listened to this one yet, but go do it, because it's about as close to a perfect album, and I think that those do exist as you can possibly get. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for me. Those are my top 5 albums from 2012. Let me know down in the comments what your top 5 albums from 2012 are. Stay tuned for 2002 coming out soon. And as always, I will talk to y'all later. Peace.